Ever wondered what could make a mischievous fairy change its ways? Dive into The Cursed Piskie, a magical sleep story set in the enchanting landscapes of Cornwall. Follow the journey of a mischievous Piskie, cursed by a powerful nature spirit, as he embarks on a quest to perform good deeds and break the spell. In the forgotten ages, tucked away in the enchanting, windswept landscape of Cornwall, with its rugged crags, rolling moors, and the ceaseless hum of the Atlantic, resided a pixie who went by the name Pellan. Cornwall, with its awe-inspiring cliffs, mysterious stone circles, and sunsets that painted the sky in hues of gold and purple, was known to be a place where magic lingered, and Pellan was a testament to that. Pellan was unlike his fellow pixies, who were often friendly, if a bit elusive, creatures known for their playful demeanor. He was a creature of impish charm and roguish tendencies, with twinkling eyes that sparkled with mischief beneath his shock of chestnut hair. His small, nimble hands were almost always up to no good, and his wings, as iridescent as dew-kissed spiderwebs, would flutter with delight at each successful prank. His mischief was well known throughout the quiet hamlets that dotted the Cornish countryside. The peaceful villagers would often wake up to find their daily lives turned topsy-turvy by Pellan's antics. He reveled in chaos, creating minor pandemonium with glee. He would cast tiny spells to curdle the milk in the dairy pails, causing consternation among the dairy maids who couldn't figure out why their fresh milk was turning sour overnight. His antics extended to the humble farmsteads too, where he would sneak into the barns under the cover of night, his small form darting through the haylofts. The farm horses would often be found in the morning light with their manes knotted into intricate braids, the work of Pellan's nimble fingers, causing frustration for the farmhands who had to spend hours untangling them. Perhaps his most audacious prank was sneaking into the village baker's kitchen. Despite the heat from the oven and the danger of being caught, Pellan would stealthily steal loaves of fresh-baked bread, their inviting aroma wafting through the air. The baker would be left scratching his head, bewildered at the missing bread and the tiny flowery footprints left behind. Pellan's exploits, while they brought him much amusement, often left the peaceful villagers of Cornwall in a state of vexation and disarray. Little did he know, his mischievous ways were about to catch up with him, leading him down a path of transformation and redemption. As the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, Pellan's pranks grew increasingly audacious. One fateful day, his mischief crossed the threshold of harmless fun and ventured into the realm of cruelty. His target was Morwenna, an elderly widow who lived on the outskirts of the nearest hamlet. Morwenna was a kind-hearted soul, her face etched with the wisdom of her years, her back hunched from a lifetime of hard work. Morwenna's sole companion and source of livelihood was her faithful cow, Bran. Bran was a gentle creature with soft brown eyes and a coat as white as Cornish cream. The old widow depended on Bran's milk to make cheese, butter, and cream, which she would trade for other necessities in the local market. One night, under the silvery glow of the full moon, Pellan, driven by his incessant need for mischief, decided to play a prank on Morwenna. He slipped into her pasture, his tiny form barely casting a shadow. With a mischievous glint in his eyes and an incantation under his breath, he lured Bran away, leading her into the depths of the Cornish moors, leaving Morwenna bereft of her beloved companion and her only means of sustenance. When Morwenna awoke to the break of dawn, she found Bran's usual spot in the pasture empty. She called out for her cow, her voice echoing in the early morning stillness, but only silence answered her. Her heart sank, and a profound sorrow filled her being. Her eyes, gray as the stormy Cornish sea, welled up with tears, the wrinkles on her face deepening with her frown. In her despair, Morwenna lifted her face to the heavens, her voice choked with emotion. She cried out for justice, her plea echoing across the moors, carried by the wind. She beseeched the ancient spirits of Cornwall, her words a mixture of anger, sorrow, and desperation. Little did she know, her cry would not go unanswered, and Pellan's reign of mischief was about to be challenged in a way he'd never expected. Morwenna's plea, heartfelt and desperate, echoed through the heavens and reached the ears of the Green Lady. The Green Lady was a powerful spirit, a guardian of nature's harmony, whose essence was woven into the very fabric of Cornwall's landscape. Her form was that of an ethereal woman cloaked in radiant shades of green. Her eyes glowed with the brilliance of emeralds, mirroring the myriad hues of the Cornish countryside. She was the whisper in the rustling leaves, the song in the babbling brooks, the sigh in the evening breeze. Her duty was to keep the delicate balance between the mystical and the mortal, the mischief and the benign, the give and the take. And in the tale of Pellan's pranks, she saw a balance upset, a harmony disrupted. The Green Lady, with her omniscient gaze, saw the pain clouding Morwenna's heart and the unabashed mischief twinkling in Pellan's eyes. In the dichotomy, she recognized the need for intervention. It was time for the wayward Pixie to learn the importance of empathy and kindness, to understand the consequences of his actions. Materializing in front of Pellan, the Green Lady was an awe-inspiring sight. Her aura shimmered with an otherworldly light, and her voice held the power of the rustling forests and rushing rivers. She looked at Pellan, her gaze penetrating his mischievous exterior, reaching the depths of his essence. With a voice as resonant as the earth itself, she declared, "Until you perform 100 good deeds for those you have wronged, you will be marked and visible to all, unable to hide." As her words echoed through the air, Pellan felt a powerful energy surge through him. His ability to blend into the shadows, to become invisible to the human eye, slipped away from him. Suddenly he was exposed, visible, his impish form illuminated by the sunlight. The curse was a scarlet letter, a beacon of his mischief, and a herald of his new journey, a journey of redemption, growth, and understanding. In the blink of an eye, Pellan's world was transformed. His existence, which was once cloaked in the comfortable invisibility bestowed upon his kind, was now laid bare for all to see. The power to choose when to reveal himself to human eyes had been stripped away, leaving him exposed and vulnerable. His translucent wings, which once flickered in and out of sight like a half-remembered dream, now shimmered visibly in the sunlight. They caught the rays, reflecting a kaleidoscope of colors, a beautiful but stark reminder of his new reality. His wings fluttered nervously, their usual confident flutter replaced with a tentative tremor. Pellan's impish face, once hidden behind a veil of magic and secrecy, was now clearly visible. His wide, sparkling eyes filled with uncertainty and apprehension as he looked upon a world that could now look back at him. His grin, typically wide and mischievous, began to waver. The corners of his mouth fell, and his lips tightened. His laughter, once carefree and infectious, was replaced with a silence that spoke volumes. As the villagers started noticing the tiny figure, their curiosity piqued. Pellan felt a weight settle onto his slender shoulders. The severity of his situation began to dawn on him. He was now an object of scrutiny, his every move visible and accountable. The reality of the Green Lady's curse began to sink in. It was a daunting task, a journey of 100 good deeds. But more than that, it was a journey of change and growth, a path leading away from mischief and towards understanding and empathy. Understanding the magnitude of his task, Pellan took a deep breath, his tiny chest rising and falling with determination. Embarking on his journey to break the spell, he knew he had to start by righting the wrongs closest to his heart. And so, he made his way to Morwenna, the gentle old widow he had wronged so grievously. Using his knowledge of the moors, he found Bran, the stolen cow, wandering forlornly amidst the craggy rocks and tufts of heather. With gentle whispers and coaxing, he led the bovine creature back to Morwenna's homestead. It was a slow process, and Pellan had to learn patience, a virtue he had never bothered with before. On returning Bran, he observed the dilapidated state of Morwenna's fence. It was old and weathered, much like Morwenna herself, barely standing against the harsh Cornish winds. Pellan, who had previously enjoyed creating disarray, now found himself mending the broken fence. His tiny hands, once skilled in causing mischief, now worked diligently to repair the wooden barrier. It was hard work, and he learned the value of sweat and toil, of creating rather than destroying. However, the curse was more than just a physical transformation. It was a journey of self-discovery and growth. Each good deed carried with it a new lesson, a new challenge. He realized that performing these deeds was not merely about labor, but about understanding the impact of his actions on others. He was learning empathy, experiencing the satisfaction of bringing a smile to Morwenna's face, the gratitude in her eyes as she found Bran returned and her fence mended. As he continued on his journey, Pellan discovered that kindness, patience, and hard work were not burdens, but gifts. Each good deed brought him one step closer to breaking the curse, but more importantly, it brought him one step closer to becoming a better Pixie, one who understood the value of harmony and respect for others. In the days that followed, Pellan's journey of redemption led him to undertake acts of kindness and service that he would never have considered before. He turned his attention to the natural world around him, his nimble fingers and tiny magic working to clear the streams choked with leaves and debris. He watched with newfound satisfaction as the water once again flowed freely, babbling its thanks as it nourished the surrounding landscape. His new visibility also made him a beacon for lost children who wandered too far from their homes. Despite their initial fear of the visibly strange Pixie, the children soon grew fond of him. They would follow the shimmering glow of his wings, and with a gentle hand and a kind smile, Pellan would guide them safely back to their worried parents. Perhaps the most heartwarming of his deeds was when he came across a sickly lamb, its tiny form trembling on the edge of life. With a soft touch and a whispered incantation, he used his pixie magic to soothe the lamb's pain and nurse it back to health. It was a delicate task that required patience and care, and the sight of the lamb bouncing back to its lively self filled Pellan with a joy he had never experienced before. The villagers, who had once lived in fear of the pixie's mischievous antics, slowly began to change their perception. They saw the efforts Pellan was making, the kindness he was showing, and the care with which he approached each task. Their fear turned into fondness, their apprehension into appreciation. Pellan, too, was undergoing a transformation. The joy he had once found in causing chaos was being replaced by the satisfaction he now found in aiding others. Each grateful smile, each sigh of relief, each word of thanks filled him with a sense of purpose and fulfillment that his pranks had never offered. His journey was not just about breaking the curse anymore, but about discovering a new way of life, one that was defined by kindness, empathy, and understanding. Months turned into seasons, and with each passing day, Pellan grew closer to his goal. His deeds, big and small, had begun to weave a new fabric of harmony in the Cornish countryside. He had exchanged his mischief for kindness, his pranks for help, and his laughter for contentment. His journey of transformation had not only changed the villagers' perception of him, but had reshaped his own self-image. His 100th task brought him to the village church, an ancient building that had stood against time but was now showing signs of age. Its stone wall, once a stalwart defender, was crumbling, threatening the safety of those who sought solace within its hallowed halls. Pellan, seeing the need for his help, took upon himself the task of restoring the wall to its former glory. With patience and perseverance, Pellan worked tirelessly, his small hands glowing with an ethereal light, lifting and placing each stone with the utmost care. It was a task that required strength, patience, and an understanding of the sanctity of the place he was mending. As he placed the final stone, a sense of accomplishment washed over him. He looked at the rebuilt wall, standing strong and sturdy, a symbol of his journey from a mischievous pixie to a beloved figure in the village. His heart filled with pride, not for completing the task, but for understanding the joy of service, the happiness that came from helping others. Just as he was basking in this newfound joy, a familiar, powerful presence made itself known. The Green Lady, the powerful nature spirit who had set him on this journey, appeared before him. Her verdant aura shimmered in the Cornish sunlight. Her emerald eyes glowed with a warmth that belied her intimidating presence. She stood there, a testament to the harmony of nature, ready to acknowledge the transformation of the pixie who had learned the true value of his existence. The Green Lady's voice echoed through the air, a symphony of nature's sounds, the rustling of leaves, the babbling of brooks, the soft whispers of the breeze. "You have learned your lesson, Pellan," she declared, her tone gentle yet firm. Her eyes, glowing with a divine wisdom, held Pellan's gaze, acknowledging the transformation he had undergone. "The curse is lifted," she announced, her words carrying the weight of the mountains and the depth of the seas. As her voice resonated, a surge of energy radiated from her, washing over Pellan. It was a wave of release, of liberation, but also of affirmation. In that moment, Pellan's visible form shimmered and flickered like a candle in the wind before finally disappearing, leaving only the echo of his existence. He had returned to his unseen state, his form once again hidden from human eyes. The villagers who had gathered around looked around in surprise, their eyes scanning for the familiar figure of the pixie they had grown to admire and love. However, while Pellan had disappeared from their sight, he had not disappeared from their hearts. His deeds, his actions, his transformation had left a lasting impact. They spoke of him around their fires, their stories passing down from generation to generation, the tale of the mischievous pixie who had learned the value of kindness and empathy. And Pellan, though invisible once again, was forever changed. He no longer found joy in causing chaos, but in maintaining harmony. He helped quietly, unseen but always present, his actions speaking louder than any visibility could. He realized that the curse had not been a punishment, but a lesson, a guide that had led him to discover his true potential. From then on, he continued to live in the heart of Cornwall, a hidden helper, a guardian spirit, and a reminder of the power of change. His story was a testament to the idea that even the most mischievous hearts could learn the joy of kindness, and that sometimes a curse could turn out to be the greatest blessing of all. And so, the story of Pellan, the once cursed pixie, wound its way through the rolling hills and rugged cliffs of Cornwall, echoing within its craggy landscapes and whispering through its verdant forests. It was carried on the wind, sailing across the vast moors, rustling through the leaves of the mighty oaks, and lapping against the rocky shores. The tale was told in hushed voices around crackling fires, shared over hearty meals, and passed down through the generations. It served as a reminder, a lesson, a beacon of hope that change was always possible, and good could spring forth from even the most unlikely of places. The story of the mischievous Pixie, cursed to be visible and forced to perform 100 good deeds, spoke volumes about transformation. It was a testament to the power of hard work, empathy, and the willingness to change one's ways. It emphasized how even the most seemingly harsh punishment could serve as a catalyst for growth and self-discovery. As children listened wide-eyed to the tale, they learned about the joy of helping others, about the importance of understanding the impact of their actions, and about the satisfaction that came from hard work. They learned that mischief might provide momentary amusement, but it was kindness that brought lasting joy. Adults, too, found wisdom in Pellan's journey. They were reminded of the importance of patience, of giving second chances, and of the power of transformation. They saw how Pellan had turned a curse into a blessing, how he had embraced a seemingly harsh lesson and used it to change not only his own life, but also the lives of those around him. Thus, the tale of the cursed pixie became more than just a story. It became a piece of Cornwall's heritage, a narrative imbued with life lessons and age-old wisdom. It became a reminder of the transformative power of good deeds, the potential for change inherent in each of us, and the profound impact a seemingly harsh lesson can have.